to tell you this story I memorized when I was in high school. And so you have to listen very carefully because it might be a little confusing. For some reason I can not remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember this story. I don't know why. Once upon a time in a corn country, there lived a beautiful girl, and her name was Rindercella. Now this Rindercella lived with her muggly other and her two siggly gisters. And also in the same corn country, there lived a pransome hens. And this pransome hens was going to have a fancy fall, and he'd invited the people from miles around, especially the pitch people. Now Rindercella was not invited, but her muggly other and her two siggly gisters were. So they had to go out looking for drancy fasses to wear to this fancy fall. Finally, the night of the fancy fall arrived, and Rindercella couldn't go, so she just sat down and cried. Now, she was kitting there a-srying when all at once there appeared before her her Gary Modfather, and she touched her with her magic wand, and there appeared before them a cage coach and Hicks white horses to take her to the fancy fall. But she was told she had to be home before midnight, or the cage coach and Hicks white horses would turn back into a pumpkin in Hicks white size. She was so excited, so she took off for the fancy fall, and when she got there, the pransome hens met her at the door, because he'd been watching behind a wooden window. So, the pransome hens and Rindercella, they danced all night until midnight, and the mid-clock struck night. So Rindercella stays down the rares, and just as she beats the bottom, she slopped her dripper. So the next day, the pransome hens went looking all over this corn country, looking for the beautiful girl who slopped her dripper. Finally, he came to Rindercella's house, and he tried the slipper on Rindercella's muggly other, but it fitted it. Then he tried the slipper on her two siggly gisters, and it fitted it. But then he tried it on Rindercella, and it fitted it. It was exactly the sight rise. So they got married, and they lived happily afterwards. Now the story of the Maury is this. If you go to a fancy fall and you want a pransome hens to loll and fuff with you, don't forget to slap your dripper.